My pleasure to call to order the regular meeting of the Village of Cache Creek this May the 20th, 2025. We do have a proclamation that has been issued, and that is a proclamation related to Indigenous Survivors Day, National Blanket Ceremony Day, which happens to be June the 30th, I think. In the village of Cache Creek, in recognition of the survivors of the 60s scoop and related policies, and in honor of their families, their strength, and their healing, we affirm our commitment to reconciliation and to fostering awareness, understanding, and unity in our community. Signed this 20th day of May 2025. Yes, Carmen. Councillor Ranta.
Thank you very much. I just want to celebrate along with the rest of council the honor that Councillor David Dubois has received as being named the Canadian Biomass Champion of the Year for Canada. So congratulations to Councillor Dubois.
Right on, buddy. Together we're better.
Now we know you do more than sit behind that table.
There being no delegations, we have the minutes of the May 5th regular council meeting. Could I have a motion to adopt or circulated?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. And the May 12th special council meeting, could I have a motion to adopt or circulated?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none. Committee reports, Economic Development, Councillor Dubois.
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Budget Administrative Services. We have a recommendation that we approve a donation of $500 to the J.P. Powell Society upon confirmation that the event will be taking place in the summer of 2025, and I would so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor Dubois?
Where would the funds for this donation be coming from?
We don't have anything specifically earmarked for the donation, so we would have to move some things around.
Is it something that could be coming from the community fund?
Is that a council wish?
Even though
That was my question.
even though the event is taking place outside of the village of Cache Creek?
I think it's Cache Creek area, because when we set up the account, we did speak about things like the Lions Club is the Ashwaubenon District Lions Club, so it encompasses the area, so it's my belief it could come from that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Bylaw and Policy Review, Councillor Ranta.
Item number 1, I move the recommended motion on the agenda that the minutes of the Bylaw and Policy Review Committee meeting held on May 5th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Item number 2, I move that council adopt the MIABC Associate Member Policy as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor Dubois?
Was this a policy that we created in-house, or was this one that came at the recommendation of MIABC?
In-house.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And item number 3, the council adopt the communications policy as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor Peters?
Yeah, I just have a question. Is it I can't remember, was it the intent to have the actual details of the communication policy as an appendix to this? Because so we would have to have a separate policy that has the actual communications,
No,
the modes of communication?
okay, go ahead.
The policy specifically establishes the need and the review cycle, and then the actual communications plan or policy will be a separate document.
Councillor Ranta?
Yeah, it's very simple policy, but it does kind of change things in that instead of, like, it would remind council or remind the team to have a communications plan. So it's kind of setting up the need and requirement to have a communications plan, and it gives complete flexibility about what that plan would look like.
Thank you. Any,
Some of them have it.
any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Public Works, Councillor Deibert.
Nothing to report at this time.
Healthcare Protective Services, Councillor Ranta.
There was a HAWC meeting this afternoon that I missed. I mentioned at the last council meeting that they were doing a community survey about kind of to get a bit of a indication of how many people have a family doctor, where that doctor is located, how many times they've used lab work and x-ray and things like that at the Ashcroft site, and kind of trying to assess and determine how many people are having trouble in being sent away for things like blood tests and x-rays when they need them in a short time frame, and how long the appointment cycle is. So if you call for an appointment with a doctor, how long is that taking? I'll be hearing more about that at their next meeting.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yes.
Just a brief update on a previous council item. There was a previous council item asking for us to communicate with Interior Health about figuring out how best to show the members of the public the services that the UPCC offers. We've been working on that. It took us a little while to find where it needed to go. Found that, and we're just waiting we have some draft communications through we had a couple phone calls. So we had some draft communications and talking points and that sort of thing. So it's currently just going up the chain to make sure that is acceptable to be communicated, and then we can take it back. I'll share it with council, and then look at how best to distribute it.
Thank you. On to emergency management then, Councillor Peters.
Well, the snowpack is gone, so we're.
Is it?
Well, some of it came back over the weekend, but it's not. So we still always have the risk of heavy spring rains that could cause some issues, but at this point in time, we're cautiously optimistic that things are moving forward very well.
Good, thank you. On to Parks and Recreation, Councillor Ranta.
Nothing new today.
Landfill Advisory Committee, nothing new, although I did have a phone call from Ross Black earlier on today, and he says things are moving along nicely at the landfill. DNRD and Intergovernmental Liaison, Councillor Ranta wishes to report on the Silva Convention. I think there's something in the agenda.
Yeah, I move that we receive and file my report as the motion on the agenda.
Second?
Discussion?
I made a spelling mistake. Fulton is spelled wrong, I believe.
You're absolutely right, I noticed that.
Yeah.
It was a really well-planned event, and there was lots of opportunities to talk to a lot more people than I put in the report, but I always get a lot out of those things by talking to people just casually on the kind of fringes of what's happening, as well as the core items, and I don't really have a lot more to add other than what's written in the report.
Thank you. On the motion to receive and file the report, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, Councillor Peters.
we have a transit meeting tomorrow here, just to remind you, sir. We have our new bus stop installed at Community Hall.
I saw that.
It's very nice and lit brightly. And we also have a new stop at the Sage and Sands Trailer Park that we lobbied for because a good part of our population lives in that area. So that's in place. And there's another thing I can't remember. So things are moving forward. Oh, and the new schedule's up. And I just wanna remind people that there is an opportunity for door-to-door pickup. They just have to make a reservation for it, but in the pamphlet, which, do we have them yet?
The new pamphlets they aren't printing, they're sending the documents out and then we'll print them because they anticipate that they're gonna be changing more often now than
Okay.
previous.
So there will be,
Yes,
there
that's
will.
a good question. We do have them.
There, and it was posted on our Facebook page as well, the new schedule, so just a reminder though that you don't have to come to the bus stop to get the bus, schedules allowing it, they will have, if you have a lot of groceries, rather than you having to walk up the hill with your groceries, they will take you right to your door. So that's a service that not many in Cache Creek are using, that could be.
Thank you. On to Cache Creek Community Fund, Councillor Dubois.
Nothing to report, from a committee meeting point of view, but I'd just like to acknowledge that there was an announcement that went out with our most recent tax notification, so if anybody's interested in applying for the fund, please look for it there or come on into the village to see more of the details.
Thank you. And staff reports, UBCM deadlines. There's a report about deadlines for a variety of UBCM initiatives. Councillor Renta.
I think, myself that I would recommend that council, apply for the, awards, recognition awards, for, the work that we've done on transparency regarding the, communications and tracking of the recovery project. And I think there's a May 30th deadline, so is there enough time to put that on the next meeting agenda?
It wouldn't be able to be, well, I guess a submitted application could be on the next agenda, but the next agenda would be after that deadline. If there's a resolution of council today, we could definitely get it in, and I could send it around to council for review if there's any other items.
Okay, so I'll move that we apply for the UBCM recognition awards for that aspect of our work, the tracking of the recovery projects and the communication of them on the website through the Monday program, and
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we don't need to receive and file the staff report. Councillor Peters.
I would like to see council start to brainstorm and think about which ministers' meetings they would like to attend or apply to attend. Because the sooner we get them in, even though they haven't published, I don't think, yet the opening for that opportunity, but it's one of the most valuable parts to me of UBCM is that opportunity to sit down one-on-one. So I know for me, I would like to meet the new emergency management minister. I think we need to meet the housing minister if possible. Hope is always on the board, but it's kind of hard to get. But so I think, I would encourage council to communicate to staff the meetings that they would like to see.
Thank you. On then to strategic planning, governance review, and council self-evaluation facilitation. There's a motion related to Hunter Inc. Communications to deliver a governance review workshop at a cost of $6,500 plus GST to support role clarity, team alignment, and refinement of the 2024 strategic plan.
So move for discussion.
second.
Discussion? Councillor Peters.
I attended Ms. Hunter's workshop on strategic planning at Silga, and it was very informative. I think that at this particular point in time when we're trying to cut costs, that this is a pretty big expenditure. That while I could see the great value of it, I don't think that it's the right time to spend that money.
Thank you. Any other, Councillor Dubois?
Yeah, I think we had talked about something similar or along these veins previously in council discussions, and I'm not sure that this is what I was thinking of, and for $6,500, given where we're at with budget constraints and everything like that, I would agree with Councilor Peters, and I would suggest that maybe this is something we look at tabling for later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Anta.
Is there, I'm gonna ask this question to the CAO, okay?
Yeah, just fine.
Like, would there be something at a lower cost that would be of value to council that you could think of?
Offhand, hard to say. When looking at a few different options, like I know that Fulton has offered different types of training and stuff like that. It's really focused on role clarity. When looking at this, when I was talking with Ms. Hunter about it, the specific, because she did give a higher quote, and then I asked her to refine it down a little bit more. I think the scope is kind of within what council's looking for, because it's a single day full session, but it also includes some strategic like interview time before, and then a report on what's gathered after. Either the front or back end of that could be cut off to lower the cost. I wasn't able to really find many places that weren't around this price point anyways, for doing similar types of engagement. There was some other place that did different stuff, but I felt that it was quite out of the realm of what council was looking for. Even this, like Councillor Dubois said, it feels like some of it is what was discussed, but also some of it wasn't. So it was difficult. I think that Ms. Hunter is a good contact, and we could change up what council's looking for. If council had something that they wanted specifically, or a budget that they were looking to achieve, I could go back to her and ask for a change. The other thing is availability. She's available within the month of June, whereas some of the other places not so much. I'm seeing shaking heads. You're not available.
I'm not available. I'm not available the month of June, sorry.
Well, I think that the concept that we discussed when we talked about this last was about roles and responsibilities, and I think that it would be beneficial for us to, even if we don't do it, through a private contractor, to try to address the need regarding the strategic planning. We've had, we have a strategic plan. We've kind of been sidetracked with recovery projects a little bit, and I don't know if there's a way of narrowing it down to the strategic planning aspect and getting some support for implementation and reporting strategies for strategic planning, just so that we make sure our strategic plan isn't sort of a side thing that we have on the side, but something that is actually the core thing for the council, and kind of figuring that out before the election comes and we have a brand new council, because we're going to be sort of starting from we wouldn't have set it up in a successful way for that council if we don't slightly tweak our practices right now. But I'm not sure if the council, like, it's a little higher than I expected as well. But I know that we, the fact that the village, annually spends about, or has funding of about $10 million, that having a council that has clarity on strategic planning and roles and responsibilities is worth something. It's worth a value, especially when we're not feeling confident that our strategic planning processes, including oversight of the strategic plan are really in a good place. So, like I think that putting some money towards ensuring that the strategic planning is tracked properly and that it's relevant to the work of council in a different way than it is right now, is worth some money. And how much, I guess, is kind of the struggle we're having, is how much is it worth to us to do a really good job of that and know how to do a good job of that. Yeah, you know, this might be too large at the moment, but I'm just curious. I'm curious if we could send staff with maybe $2,500 in some kind of support for our strategic plan work, whether it's through the council or through the staff, so that we are being more successful in implementing our strategic plan. So I would make an amendment that the amount of the motion be changed, or should we defeat it, and then should I have a new motion?
I think it should.
New motion?
Councillor Dubois.
I appreciate Councillor Durante's ideas around trying to modify this. Based on my experience in dealing with these types of sessions and everything like that, $6,500 is about the going rate. It's either, in my mind, even going down to $2,500. I don't think that's going to really gain us much, if anything. A lot of what happens in these things is in the planning that goes into them, not on the cost of the day. I would suggest we'd be better off to just allocate that time of staff to go through the process in a more diligent manner, rather than trying to bring in a private contractor to do something like this.
Thank you.
And as for
Councillor
the
Peters.
discussion on motion, this is a direct motion based on a quote that we've received, so it would have to be a motion, yeah. Secondary motion.
Any further discussion? We've got the recommendation on the floor. All those in favor? Opposed? Defeated? Was there a secondary motion you had in mind, Councillor Ranta?
I'll do some research and bring it back to the table.
Okay, thank you. Interpretation of policy B16, expense reimbursement. I asked that this be on the agenda, and part of the reason I did that is because I got this expense claim for Silga, I think it was, and what it says on the expense claim is the mileage rate per kilometer is 68 cents. And when I got my expenses, I was paid 60 cents. And so that I found rather irritating. And so I looked up the expense policy, and it says in the expense policy, private automobile mileage claims will be reimbursed at current Canada Revenue Agency rates. And if you pull out your phone and punch in current Canada Revenue Agency rates, you'll see that it says 72 cents. And I've got it here as well on paper. It says automatically applies 72 cents per kilometer rate for the first 5,000 kilometers. And so rather than directing staff to continue administering the policy B16 expense reimbursement as currently practiced, which I think is mistakenly interpreted, I would move that council refer policy B16 to the Policy and Bylaw Review Committee for revision as necessary. Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Councillor Dubois.
Yes, I believe the rate that they're quoting at 60 cents a kilometer is the CRA rate for government employees that are going out and working. That's according to the CRA Canada website directly, as opposed to a Google search of things. Right. There is some confusion because there is a rate of a reasonable rate for private entities at 72 cents. I don't think that would apply to us, as we are a government organization. Further than that, this would also apply not only to us as councillors, but it would also apply to staff as well, because it's a combined policy. And I think it's fair that we all get paid the same rate for mileage, and there's not a differentiation between staff and council rates.
I agree. but I think the rate should be 72 cents because that's what it says in the CRA.
I think I clarified that the policy is for private business as a reasonable expense for vehicles rather than a governmental rate for people on government businesses employed by governments, which is what we would be at this stage.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Ranta.
Well, it might provide, there might be a way of providing a little more clarity in the policy so that we don't have the same conversation happening again. And I wonder if we couldn't just refer it to the policy and bylaw committee and see what the conversation is like there, and if there's a way of giving it more clarity, then that might be a good way to move forward on this one.
That's what the motion is. Any further discussion on the motion? Councillor Peters.
I would just like to say that tantamount to all of this is the fact that this is taxpayers' money we're discussing. And for the amount of the difference of 12 cents a kilometer for that trip that we took, I don't believe that it's worth spending more time on this policy. We took a tremendous amount of time, both last council and this council, to bring it to fruition, and I'm fine with the way it is. I'll be fine against the motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion then? All those in favor? Opposed? Defeated. On to Community Hall security improvements. The security gate initiative. I would move that council approve the installation of proposed security gate and fund the cost through the community building fund as the project directly addresses public safety, risk mitigation, and asset protection.
Second.
Discussion. Councillor Dubois, then Peters.
So just so I'm clear, this would be 100% funded by outside and would not be any village funds for this?
Formerly the gas tax fund. I think I quoted it correctly as the community building fund.
That's what it's called now.
Yeah.
Councillor Peters.
Yeah, there's been numerous complaints to me, and I'm sure the rest of council's received them as well, about people alighting underneath those stairwells and people being frightened by them and threatened by them. So I totally support this motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Dubois.
I'm just wondering, was the idea ever considered of replacing those with metal stairs so that there is no fire hazard at all? And was there a significant price difference?
To answer your question, yes, that was considered. We're currently getting a quote for that specific work to transition it. The contractor said that it would probably have the same footprint, so you still have the same underneath issue. There was a few different suggestions and stuff like that. It would be considerably, he did say that it would be more than just the gate to redo the stairs. So really it comes down to if council feels that it's necessary, because the stairs need some love, but they're not quite at end of life yet. So, then there would be a risk.
Councillor Dubois.
Is there any reason we couldn't put in expanded metal or something like that that would not act as a shelter, that would allow, so it would be more of a deterrent? And the reason why I say that, I look at something like that as a fence. If somebody wants to go there, they'll damage the fence at our cost, and then we'll be constantly repairing the fence. I think it's a short-term solution. Given the cost of over $5,000, I'd be more inclined to come up with a better solution that addresses the whole problem rather than just the symptom. So yeah, I would, if there was another quote going forward, I would suggest, I'd like to we make a motion that we table this agenda item until we have another quote for stairs.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
There's no debate on a tabling motion. All those in favor? Opposed? What is?
I'm opposing it, sorry.
Oh. Well, I think
I was
that's
making
defeated
notes.
then.
I was making notes because Christina had to go take a call. I was from Service Canada, so.
You've got to make up your
I'm
mind.
sorry. I was writing and waiting at the same time.
So that's defeated then?
Defeated.
So where are we going with this, proposed project? Counselor or administrator, co-chair?
Just in case it wasn't clear with my report, it's just for the one side with the wooden staircase, not the side with the concrete staircase. We're also waiting for a quote on that as well, because that's also been a known problem area, being an emergency exit and down underneath everything. But since it is an emergency exit, it poses different types of challenges, in that whatever we put in place has to have a one-way door,
Yeah.
which that inherently on its own substantially increases the cost. So yeah, we're waiting for pricing on all of the above, but we did get this one back, and I wasn't sure if it was something council wanted to proceed with.
Councillor Peters?
Yes, well, I understand where Council Dubois was going with this. I don't disagree that we should still move forward with information on the stairs, but I think the safety aspect to me is the most important piece of this. Really the view of it doesn't matter to me as much as the safety of the residents, especially at night.
So, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Sorry, buddy. Councillor Ranta.
Well, I would move a second motion, or a motion related to the last motion, that the council directs staff to investigate costs of replacing the wood on the stairs at the hall.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Are we gonna do this right away or just look at the price?
No, this is just to investigate.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. On to item E, letter from Fire Chief Tom Moe regarding derelict buildings. I would move the recommendation that we direct staff to investigate Chief Moe's concerns.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor Ranta?
I agree with the concerns, as I'm sure everyone around the table does. It's been quite a frustrating experience for everyone that lives in Cache Creek to fathom the difficult situation that we are all in regarding the Oasis Plaza, especially, and unsightly premises in the downtown core. I know that all of us would do everything in our power to deal with these unsightly premises in the downtown core immediately. And if this letter is part of a process that will see some immediate movement on those properties, I am completely in favor, as I'm sure everyone in this room is, and all the citizens are. It was bubbling up on social media a little bit in the recent last week or two, and at some point I just want to emphasize that this is a very, very big concern for the council, and that we are happy to receive this letter, and hopefully we can get to a point where there's enough ducks in a row to do something about the properties.
Thank you. Yeah.
Are we able to create bylaws to deal with these problem properties and buildings?
There's already some in place, but there's very specific requirements to meet them, and we think that
Is there
may be
wording changes needed?
not likely.
Because this has been a problem for too many years. And 100 Mile cleaned theirs up according to bylaws, so I hope that we would go the same way.
Thank you, Councillor Peters.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, staff and bylaw have been working on the issue. It's just there are many hoops to through, unfortunately, and I think that councils for a long time have been working on this as well, so, you know, it's very frustrating, but hopefully with a letter from the fire chief expressing concerns will help us move our case forward with any of the legalities that we might be roadblocked by at this particular point in time.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. On to information correspondence. There's 3 items of incoming correspondence and 5 items of outgoing correspondence. Could I have a motion to receive for information?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. On to, I didn't even see that recommendation. On to new business. Any new business?
I would
Councillor
just like
Peters?
to say that Deputy Chief Alana Peters will be competing in a fire fit competition next weekend in Medicine Hat, so we all
Oh,
wish her
wow.
the best.
Yeah,
She'll be competing again in June. So
she works very hard at that.
She trains very hard, and
Yeah.
she'll be not only competing in the individual events, hoping to qualify for the nationals and that will be held back east in September, but she's also partnering with a small volunteer fire department in Hanna, BC, or Hanna, Alberta, that she's become friends with, and she's going to be running in their mixed relay and with what's called a Tech 2, where they switch equipment down with one of their firefighters as well. So.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Good. Is there any other new business? Seeing none. Questions from the public? Yes, public.
Thank you. Regarding the community fund, I'd just like to point out that the money that created that fund came from Cache Creek taxpayers, and I'm not sure if it's changed since then, but the purpose of the fund at that time was to enhance greater community spirit in Cache Creek. So please consider how future requests for the funds enhance that spirit when you decide to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public? I didn't hear much of a question there. Are there questions from the press?
Nope.
We have need of a closed session pursuant to section 90.1 and 90.2 of the community charter. Could I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Brief break.